To be live. Welcome to the conversation about the new Pope. Conversation that will upset a lot of Christians. I made an analysis on my channel. No one said that I'm wrong. But they were like, but what about prayers and the Holy Spirit, V? What about such and such theological argument? And I'm like, look, it's difficult to explain this, but like you have choices, right? Like the internet has many commentators, and so you can pick and choose which commentator you like. If you come to me, you know that I'm not a Christian. Like the closest thing that I come to being a Christian is the Jefferson Bible. So like Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers of the United States of America, decided to take away all the mysticism from the New Testament, all the supernatural elements, and just keep the philosophy, okay? That's how close I am to being a Christian. Like that is, no further. And so when I analyze the Catholic Church, I analyze it the same way if I was to ask you to analyze some Asian mythology, right? Like I'm asking you to analyze Buddhism. Like you wouldn't actually study Buddhism and look at all the philosophy and then all of the, you know, the supernatural and the mysticism. Like you would just analyze it from, you know, a political standpoint. Like how is Buddhism helping, how did it help the Chinese Empire? How did it fit into the political framework of the time? That's how you'd analyze it. This is how I'm analyzing the new Pope, right? Like I'm analyzing the church, pretty much like an NGO. You're going to get a very, how should I put it, secular analysis. Now, if you don't want a secular analysis, like that's fine. You know, you can turn on the TV. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be many cardinals and bishops and important religious people talking about what they think. And that's fine. In fact, I encourage you to. Like, you don't have to just listen to one place. But if you want, like, a secular analysis of who I think is going to be Pope, might as well stay here. Right, so now that we got that out of the way, I am very afraid to be associated with Catholics. I don't have a problem with being associated with anyone. It's just that it's not who I am. I'm not a Catholic. I'm honest about it. I don't want to lie. I mean, I can do the whole pretend thing, you know? Like, I probably could get more subscribers if I just say here and I'd be like, yes, I am a Christian. Yes, I believe in God. Yes, absolutely. God bless. But I think it's disingenuous, right? And by the way, being the way I am, I'm pissing off the left and the right. Because, like, the left would expect me to completely disavow everything that Christianity does, which I don't. And the right, like, wants me to convert. Like, no, V, you gotta praise to Jesus. You gotta worship Jesus, V. You gotta pick a pastor. You know, you gotta pick someone influential that's an evangelical that speaks on behalf of God. And you have to do what they say and just pattern their opinions, because otherwise, V, you're not a good person. You're a horrible person. There cannot be no good without Jesus, V. If you don't have Jesus, you're evil, you're satanic, you're just like the woke. And so it's like, well, you know, maybe, perhaps, maybe I'm evil. But you know what? I don't want to lie. I don't want to mislead people. It's so fucking easy to just come here and say, oh yeah, I found Jesus. But, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to lie to you. But what I do want to do is talk about the new Pope. Because that will influence people, regardless if you're a Christian or not. Because the Catholic Church is a powerful institution. It's got a political bent to it. It's got the ability to spread the message. And so the question is, like, what is that message going to be? And don't tell me it's Jesus, because that doesn't tell me much. Of course it's Jesus. But is it the Marxist Jesus, or is it the more traditional Jesus? Because as we saw with the last Pope, was a little bit of the Marxist Jesus. It was like the Jesus that is inclusive, is diverse, is equitable, right? It's not the type of Jesus that many right-wingers prefer. And so the question is, it's like, how is the new Pope going to be? Is it going to be more of the same? Is it going to be even further left than Pope Francis? Or is it going to be a more classical Jesus? The type that we've know about. So anyway, which is the most likely? This gentleman. Hold on. Let me bring it up on screen. Have you heard of a man named Pietro Powim? Huh? So this man Pietro Paulin is probably what? Why the fuck doesn't it let me pull it on screen? Jesus fucking Christ! Shut the fuck up! Okay, here we go. So Pietro Paulin. This would make sense if you're looking for continuity, right? So like a lot of the cardinals and the higher ups in the church that the last pope named, probably like the pope that named them, right? So like they probably like Francis. And if you want the continuation of the Pope Francis reforms, you get this guy, Pietro Paulin. This is the guy that actually broke the deal with the CCP in order to allow the Chinese Communist Party to have a little bit more sway into who gets to be named bishop. Quite controversial, you know, like some people would go, okay, well, this was needed. It's kind of flexible, right? Because you want Christianity in China, but Christianity in China cannot operate without the blessing of the Chinese Communist Party. They don't want the Uyghur situation on the Catholics. And so they will say, all right, well, I guess we gotta make compromises. The realpolitik type of person, right? Like the person that's like, well, God is powerful, but maybe now is not the time. Maybe we need to wait a little bit until we can muscle in and convert the entire Chinese nation and bring them to the bosom of Christ. We will do that soon, but not now. Now it's the time of allowing the CCP to name the bishops. This is a progressive individual. He does have a lot of sway in El Vaticano. And he is also progressive. Like he would probably agree with most of the things that Pope Francis has done. All right, there is another gentleman by the name of Antonio Louis Antonio. People also call him the Asian Francis. He desires to soften the attitude that the church has towards homosexual people. This is what the media says, that it's most likely to be the new pope, like one of the two, right? Like the media is obsessed which one is going to be. I think it's going to be like if he manages to win, he's going to be the first Filipino pope. Here we go, chat. I'm sorry, it's just that I'm getting bombarded with ads. Why don't you install an ad blocker? Because that would be hypocritical, okay? Like, it would be hypocritical. I, as a person who benefits from ads, to install an ad blocker. We got, will the next pope be Asiano? Meet Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, a frontrunner to succeed Francis. Pope Francis, who died on Easter Monday, being mourned, blah, blah, blah. And so this guy, from what I could tell, 67. A lot of people keep asking, it's like, why are you choosing people that are so close to God? In other words, why are they choosing 70-year-old men as the popes, you know? There's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, they usually choose cardinals. And it kind of makes sense. Again, when you look at the pope, it's not just like some random guy. Technically, anyone can be pope. You can place any type of straight cisgender man that's baptized as pope. However, they usually pick cardinals. There are many reasons for it, not just theological. Okay, like one of the reasons, of course, right? Like you need to know theology, you need to understand the history of the Catholic Church. It's a lot more than being a Protestant that rallies on sola scriptura. Like, no, you actually need to know all the papal bulls and all the other shit that came before and to know the tradition and all of that. But you also need to know the, how do they say, the human workings of the church. You need to know the church bureaucracy. You need to know church finances. You need to actually know the people. Like, if you're a pope that no one likes, simply having the title doesn't mean shit. You have to have supporters. You have to have people that actually look up to you. You need to have the trust, right? And so the only people that can do that are people that are cardinals. Like, they were already in the system. They already have their friends, their network, their supporters. And so that's why it usually gets chosen as a cardinal. Now, cardinals usually are people that aren't 10 years old, right? Like, they're a little bit older. But secondly, it's actually good to have a pope that's old and it's close to Jesus. Because if you put, like imagine Pope Francis, okay? Like, a lot of people didn't like him. And so imagine if he was 20 and you have, 60 years of Pope Francis. Many people wouldn't appreciate that, right? So, you choose an elderly pope so that, okay, if he's good, he's good. If he's bad, at least he's not going to be bad for long, you know? And that's why, because I keep hearing, people on Twitter, it's like, why do they keep choosing people that are so close to God? And that's why. So apparently this guy was preparing to become a doctor, but was tricked into considering seminary, according to the College of Cardinals report. He now laughs about how the jokes of God can influence one's life. Jesuits have played a key role in his life, having taught him in his early days, it was 1982, and that he left, blah, blah, blah. I love how, they don't really talk about the important issues, like, what the fuck does he believe? Apparently, again, my opinion, he is very left-leaning, especially with LGBT issues. I wonder if this is the guy that would also allow priests to be voluntary celibates. Because if so, that would actually be a good thing for the church, right? Notice how the Orthodox Church doesn't have scandals about boogering kids. Notice how the Protestant Church doesn't have as many scandals of boogering kids. Now, this doesn't mean that, no priest ever that's an Orthodox would ever booger kids, or no Protestant ever would ever, doesn't mean that. What I'm saying is that it's not at an institutional level where the Orthodox Church finds that a priest was boogering kids, and so, they moved him from one place to another just so that the authorities don't find out. Yeah, that doesn't fucking happen. And so one of the main reasons that I think the Catholic Church as an institution has this peculiar stigma attracted to it is due to the hormones. Like the human nature, right? They have the hormones raging over there. It's not natural. And unlike monks that get locked up in a monastery in the middle of no goddamn nowhere so they can fuck with each other or whatever the fuck they do over there, the priests actually live in a community. They see women day to day. And you're expecting that these men just don't do anything, right? One of the most basic impulses of human nature, which is fucking, they must not do it, ever, under any circumstance. No other religion does this, okay? No other religion does it. The Orthodox don't do it. The Protestants don't do it. The Lutherans don't fucking do it. The Mormons don't do it. And then you go to Islam, no one fucking does this. And it's not even in the Bible. At no point does Jesus say, even the first pope, right? Like Peter. Peter had a wife. He was married. Just let the priests fuck. Now, the reason they don't let them fuck, I think, this is my opinion, is because back at the time when the church was expanding, it was a lot easier to have a priest that you could use as a missionary. So he has no connections to the land. He has no ties. You just pluck him up and you send them to the Holy Roman Empire, or you send them to France, or you send them to England, or you send them whatever. And he can't complain, right? He doesn't have a family that he brings with. He doesn't have anyone. And so it's a lot easier to just displace these missionaries as if they're soldiers. And it also doesn't hurt the clergy as itself because, now they don't have a family. They don't need to own anything from the church. And so once they die, everything they had goes back to the church, and the church manages to maintain its wealth and influence. But it's 2025, come the fuck on, can we move with the dogma? Can we bypass the tradition? Can we go back into an age where you understand that, okay, let the priests be married? It's kind of interesting because the Orthodox Church is the complete opposite the Orthodox Church, it requires you to go to the University of Theology. You study there for 4 years. Once you finally graduate, you have to get a wife. Like, they don't care how you do it. You just need to, right? So once you get a wife, then they give you a church. So, like, really, the Orthodox institution, they give you a church, and they will tell you, it's like, okay, well, this village was assigned to you. And then you go there with your wife, and you settle there, and that's the end of that, right? And usually the wife is called the priestess, unofficially, by the church community, right? She doesn't go to church, she doesn't preach, she doesn't do anything, but she has, like, the respect of the village, because she's married to the father. And I think, like, that's a much better system than what the Catholics have. And I do think that the Catholics can change it. Like, there is absolutely no reason why they can't. It doesn't create any heresy. It's not against the Bible. It's not, right? If there is another progressive pope, the conservative cardinals should declare him a heretic, excommunicate him, and schism, and elect their own pope. Well, the question is, like, how many progressive conservative cardinals are there, right? And the other question is, like, would this benefit Christianity as a whole, or will it destroy it? Because a lot of wise people, right, like people that actually have a little bit more wisdom and don't react on impulses, they don't think in history like what will happen tomorrow. They think in history as like what will happen in 10 years from now, what will happen in 100 years from now. And so a schism to the Catholic Church is not necessarily beneficial. If you look at most of the priests that are now, the young priests are incredibly conservative. And if you look at history, I mean, there were popes that had orgies in the Vatican. So, like, having a progressive pope isn't like something that never happened in human history. Is it something that's capable of destroying Christianity as a whole or the Catholic institution as a whole? But a schism is. Like, a schism is definitely capable of doing great harm. And so people that are wise, they will think about it and they will say, well, actually, you know, maybe we just bide our time. Sure, you know, we get another progressive pope. But we're looking at the new generation, and the new generation is incredibly conservative. And so we hide our power level, we bide our time, and eventually one of us is going to be elected. Public schools in many countries are worse in the scale of cover-up when it comes to kid scandals, but they don't get covered as much in the media. I am very much aware of the public school issue. The difference with the public school, right? So, like, with the church, I think it's because you are keeping priests celibate. I think that's the issue. With the public schools, from what I saw, a lot of the sexual assault abuses are coming from women. Like, South Park made a video, South Park made an episode where female teachers are abusing kids and everyone goes, nice, nice, right? The problem is that the law is too lax on that. There is little social stigma against that. And so, if that exists, that's why you have the issue. Like, the issue exists both in the Catholic Church and in the public school system, but for different reasons. The reason is that most people consider being enveloped not being as bad as being penetrated. Like, that's the reality. That's what people think. And so until people think differently, you're going to keep having people going nice. It is what it is. The difference is that the Orthodox Protestant churches are not as centralized. Catholics are trying to prevent nepotism. I don't know. I mean, you know, it's not as centralized outside of the institution, right? But like if you look at, because you have like the Orthodox in Russia, you have the Orthodox in Romania, you have the Orthodox in other places. So in a way, yes, it's not as centralized. But you still have the patriarch, right? Like at the end of the day, the Orthodox in Russia, they still have their own patriarch. And so it is centralized. I don't think the centralization itself is the problem. Replace the priests with hot priestesses so that people are saying it's nice. Well, I mean, I'm actually curious. You know, they used to have Catholic schools where nuns were serving. I don't know if there were scandals, because like back then the press wasn't as loud as it is today. But I am curious, yeah, like if people found out that nuns are fornicating with the students, would it have caused as big as a scandal? And if they would have, would it be the scandal more like the nun broke her vows rather than the sexual abuse? I don't know. But yeah, I do think that in society, generally speaking, the public perception is that if a woman does it, it's not as bad. And we can see this on how judges are punishing women that are being brought in front of them. We can see this with how the public morality thinks about women that do these things. And so I cannot condone, but I can observe. It's called passing the trash. I didn't know that's a saying. That is not how the Catholic Church works. Schisms happen for a matter of major theological issues. Political and human issues do not cause schisms. Now, I would think that political and human issues do cause schisms. In fact, the first schism was actually due to the political issues. But we agree to disagree. Again, I analyze the church as if it's an NGO. I don't believe in the supernatural. I don't believe in mysticism. And I do agree that schisms don't really happen because you elect a progressive church, a progressive pope over and over. Like that doesn't cause a schism. Anyway, let's look at the possible third candidate. So we went to the first two. Mateo Zupi. Mateo Zupi. People call him the street preacher. I don't know why they call him the street preacher. But yeah, so we got this guy. Also very soft when it comes to the LGBT community. Look, Zupi is seen as a leading contender in the upcoming 2025 Papal Conclave. You know what? This is why ChatGPT is Chad. And this is why everything else is shit. Look, you go to ChatGPT and you just ask it, tell me about Mateo Zupi. And immediately, like, it just summarizes everything you fucking want to know. Mateo Zupi progressive achievements. Right? You just hit this, and already the fucking bot is in on it. Look at this shit. Look at it, right? So you go on Wikipedia, blah, 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 blah. You go onto a website, a news media article, blah, 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 blah. And then you go onto ChatGPT, progressive achievements, advocating for LGBTQ inclusion. And it actually gives you sources. Look, it gives you the fucking sources. Place building and diplomacy. Zupi's commitment to peace is evident through his involvement in international diplomacy. He played a role in mediating the end of the Mozambique civil war. More recently, in 2023, Pope Francis appointed him as a peace envoy for the Ukrainian conflict, leading missions to Kiev, Moscow, Washington, and Beijing. Leadership within the Italian Church, president of the Italian Episcopi Conference, Zupi, has emphasized synodality and inclusivity within the church. Support for migrants. Oh my goodness. The man of tomorrow. The open migration guy. Zupi has constantly advocated for the rights of migrants and the marginalized to break all sorts of international laws and just go into a country. How many? All of them. Fucking all of them. Every single one. He has called for compassionate policies and greater support for those in need, aligning with Pope Francis. I think, okay, chat, listen, write it down. I think this is the man. I think this may actually be the man that will be the next Pope. Why do I think this? Number one, he's Italian. A lot of the clergy and a lot of people have spoken out wanting another Italian Pope. That actually fucking matters. Not for me, but for the cardinals, right? Like, they unironically believe that Italy over alles, because Rome and shit. And so, he has that going for him. LGBTQ community, I mean, this is this is peak bourgeois morality. Peace building and diplomacy, but more important, the refugees, right? Like the economic fuel that pumps up modern Europe. And so I think this may be the next pope. Will I be right, chat, or will I be wrong? Who knows? We'll see in a couple of months. But write it down. Mateo Zupi, right? Mateo Zupi. I think he's going to be the new Migrantes. Yes, the modern pope. Again, I may be wrong. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not claiming that I'm 100% right. I do have a feeling that Mateo Zupi may be the one. Let's look at the other guy. Who else did I have on my list? Petro Erdo. Petro Erdo. Hold on, let me show you. This guy may be hiding his power level, chat. This guy may be hiding his power level. He actually said that during the refugee crisis, the churches need to take more refugees. See what he did there? The sly little devil. You cheeky little shit. I think he's like, well, if you like them so much, why don't you take them? Like something that you don't really speak in polite circles. Like something that you... like, come on, you're supposed to be in the know, father. Like, you're in the know. What are you doing, right? Like, you know that we know that you know that we know. Like, come on, father, padre. But, like, more, cunning cardinals may notice, okay, well, maybe this guy knows something, like, he is the safe bet. Like, if we're going to get someone to do the job, he maybe, because, like, he has a way with words. He knows how to phrase things, like, he knows what he is doing, and we know that he knows that we know, and, So, let's see some of his, achievements. Hold on, Petro Erdo. Erdo Le Peter achievements. Give me a second, I'll put them. The Hungarian guy, yeah. He can cast heal? I don't think he can cast heal. Literally Christ's teachings? What the fuck does Christ have to do with the church, man? What was Christ actually running the church as an institution? Did Christ, sell blessings for money? What was like Christ offering, like building a church and having cardinals and shit? You think Christ would be able to run Rome? No, he would get excommunicated. Jesus. Imagine that. Like thinking that Christ and the church have anything in common. Fuck is wrong with you? Listen to this. Cardinal Erdo academic journey is marked by scholarship. A lot of scholarship things. Progressive policies. Why is ChatGPT jamming on me? Huh? Jesus Christ, I would never want to be Pope. Holy fucking shit. Yeah, see, Christ couldn't do it. He had to appoint Pope Peter, right? Like, he couldn't do it. He had to delegate. Like, he knew that it's a dirty job. He knew that running a church is dirty business. And he was like, I can't see myself wearing all that golden crown and gold around myself and having to go there and pretend that, no, he just... Oh my fucking god. Holy shit. Okay, so, what did he have? He's for universal healthcare. Right? Universal healthcare, Medicare for all proposal in the United States. Living wage laws, implementing minimum wage standards that reflect the cost of living, ensuring workers can meet basic needs. This is why I don't want the church to run the fucking nation. Like, when I hear someone, it's like, oh, we need to run the nation based on Christianity. Okay, what do they want? Living wages. Oh, fuck off. Progressive taxation. Yeah, again, the guy that doesn't get taxed, okay? The guy that doesn't get taxed wants progressive taxation. I'm like, shut the fuck up, just please. Go the fuck away. Give me Milton Friedman. Give me Milton Friedman. Just give me him. Is he a Christian? Good enough. Tax structures were higher. Income earners pay a large percentage, aiming to redistribute wealth. Social safety nets. Expanding programs like unemployment benefits, food assistance. Well, if the government does all that, Your Highness, the fuck are you doing? Like, you're the church, right? You want the government to do your fucking job. You want social safety nets, you want living wages, you want all this shit. So, like, where is the room for the church then? What exactly is the church supposed to do, huh? Like, are you doing charity? Are you like, helping people, obtain jobs and shit? Is that like your job? No. Okay, it's the government's. I see. Environmental justice, addressing the disproportionate environmental burdens faced by marginalized communities. Green New Deal initiatives. By the way, this is one of the more traditional cardinals, okay? This is a black pill for Catholics. If you want a traditionalist pope, you need to wait a couple more years. Like, I'm just saying, the way things are going, I'm looking at the runner-ups. Not good. Not good. Criminal justice reform, reducing mass incarceration through sentencing reforms and rehabilitation programs. Voting rights. Combating voter suppression, whatever the fuck that means. Anti-discrimination measures, implementing laws that protect individuals from discriminating based on race, gender, sexual orientation. Again, this is the third guy. Take into account that Pope Francis kind of made a lot of these famous, right? I'm just saying, like, don't set your high hopes too high. Would that be cool? You know, to have a pope that just opens the Vatican archive. Like, literally before he dies. Like just issues a papal bull. He knows he's going to die. Just like, open the archives. Just show the world. Just open the archives. The Catholic Church does a lot of good works. I'm not denying that. But I am saying that the next pope may be a little bit problematic if you're a right-winger. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it does good. I'm not saying it does bad. Now, let's look at the man from Ghana. Ghana. Peter, what's his name? Peter Turkson? Is it Peter Turkson? I think it's Peter Turkson. From Ghana. Look at this chat. Huh? Ghana. Let's see what his achievements are. Since he's from Ghana, it's probably a lot more conservative than the others. Proeminent advocate for social justice, environmental stewardship, and economic reform within the Catholic Church. Dios mío. Lead architect of Laudatio Si as president and, of the council, blah, blah, blah. The landmark document framed climate change as a moral issue, urging global action to protect the environment and the poor. 2021, Turkson launched the Laudato Si Action Platform, 7-year initiative aimed at promoting integral ecology. The platform encourages communities to adopt sustainable practices, emphasizing goals such as ecological education, simple lifestyles, and community engagement. Holy fucking shit. Call for global financial reform, global public authority, and a central World Bank to oversee and regulate financial institutions. Good luck getting China and the United States under the same central World Bank. At that point, I would just stop caring about election. Like, just tell me who is in charge of the World Bank. At that point, I wouldn't even care about who the Pope is. I would just be like, tell me who is leading the Central World Bank. You know, like, that's the only thing that I would care. The proposal emphasized the need for ethical consideration and economic system and criticized the ideology of the market. So you criticize the ideology of the market and you want to create the god of the market, the Central World Bank. Right? Like the divinity of the market incarnate. Wow, holy fucking shit. Promotion of ethical economics has considered highlighting the ethical dimension of economic issues linking environmental degradation to economic inequality. He emphasized that addressing climate change requires not only theological solutions, but also a moral and spiritual transformation. Okay, this is the environmentalist Pope, if you get him. He has been involved in diplomatic efforts, managing conflicts during the Ivory Coast, promoting peace in south of Sudan. Good, like this is what the Pope should do. While progressives in areas like environmental and ecological justice. Okay, up until now, all the popes are really big on environment and climate change. This one doesn't say anything about LGBT. So, like, this is the right-wing pope. Like, out of everything that we discussed up until now, right? All the other cardinals, all the other people, this one is like them, but doesn't talk about LGBT issues. But he's really big on environment, right? So, like, no matter what you get, you may not end up being satisfied. No, this is not the tree planting pope, okay? We're not in the 1990s anymore. Now it's about carbon change, right? So it's about taking away your gas stove. It's about taking away, increasing your electricity bill, increasing your taxes, right? It's not about planting trees. No one fucking cares about the trees. Where is the feminist pro-abortion candidate? There isn't any. Like, this is the one thing that the church actually goes like, okay, if we push this issue, we may get a schism. Maybe we shouldn't. V is following the Pope Francis wrote. Look up Robert Sarah. I seen more than the Peter guy you mentioned. All right, let's look at Robert Sarah and see what progressive policies he has, if any. Right? Maybe he doesn't have any. Maybe he's like a Catholic priest from the 1990s. So he's a prominent figure in the Catholic Church, blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up. I don't care about, like, just give me his policies. He's from Guinean prelate. Holy shit, he's got absolutely no progressive policies. American outlier. Where did you find this guy? Do you think he's going to win? Absolutely not. So, like, do you think, like, the cardinals that Pope Francis has blessed into office, do you think they're going to vote for this? Huh? Do you think they're going to vote? No fucking way. Advocacy for traditional liturgical practices. So, he advocated for the celebration of Mass ad Orientem, facing east, encouraging priests to adopt this posture to focus on the transcendence in God. Okay, so, like, mystical bullshit. Defense of... by the way, don't get me wrong, mystical bullshit is fine. Like, that's what the Pope should focus on. If the Pope focuses on mystical bullshit, I'm 100% happy. Like, that would be a win for me. That's like, okay, wow, holy shit, we dodged a bullet. Mystical bullshit, perfect. Defense of priestly celibacy. Vocal proponent on maintaining the celibacy. He co-authored the book From the Depths of Our Hearts, Pope Emeritus. Okay. Traditional moral teachings. Has consistently defended the church teachings on marriage, sexuality, and family, expressed concern over what he perceives to be the imposition of the Western ideologies on African cultures. Okay, listen, American outlier. Let me put it this way. Hold on. This guy would make an amazing pope. Like, if you genuinely believe in the mission of the Catholic Church, and you basically give a shit about consistency and Christianity, this guy would make an excellent pope. Which is why he will never get elected. There is no fucking way that they would elect this guy. Not gonna happen. At least, not now. You know, maybe if he lives for like 50 more years, and then, you get like a more conservative pope, and then a more conservative pope after that, and then a more conservative pope, to the point where this guy becomes a moderate. Sure. Right now, No fucking way. That's. Okay, we're back. How old is he? I don't know. But if God likes him, maybe he can live for like 200 or 300 years. Who the fuck knows? Well, think about it like this, right? Imagine Netflix. Like, Netflix CEO steps down. Do you think like they're going to hire a CEO that's like far right? Of course not, right? Like, you get something that's close to the thing you have. You rarely get something that's like a radical. Like, you don't get a Joe Biden without getting an Obama first. Does that make any sense? Unless like there's like a major shift in culture, like a massive change in culture, to the point where the Catholic Church goes like, all right, we got our agenda, but we still want to make money. And in order to make money, we still need people coming in. And right now, like literally every single one, like 90% of the people are far right. We gotta give them something more right. You know, like we gotta give them a right-wing pope, because otherwise, you know, like that's probably how they would think. Like if the culture would shift so fucking dramatically to the point where the church would feel threatened, that they will be like, look, we got our own agenda, we got our own vision, but like this is what the flock wants. This is what people are like. The culture is so strong that nothing we can do changes it. Then yeah, but we're not there. What they need is the pro-abortion, pro-WF, Langawa, progressive Muslim Pope. Okay, again, you need to understand, the church is a political institution. It's not mentally retarded. Like, it knows how much it can push. It's kind of like, okay, imagine if you're at the head of the Democrat Party, right? Like, you have your ideology, you have your vision, and now you're at the head of the Democrat Party. You're aware that you can push your vision as long as you maintain some of the decorum and some of the rules. Like you can't go full MAGA, but you can make some changes that the Democrats will like and appreciate. This is what Cenk Uygur is doing, right? Like, Cenk Uygur is now a lot more right-wing. He's not right-wing per se, but he operates within a moral framework where he still gets what he does, and he's not completely alienated by his fan base. And that's pretty much like what would happen. You can't have a priest that's pro-abortion. You just can't. Because that will cause a schism. Like, even if he does, you know, like signing a papal bull isn't that difficult. Like, he can just write it down, signs it, ships it. And then the next day, he finds out that half of his cardinals are leaving. People might even try to sabotage him, do violence against him. You know, like the entire church, the entire Christian community is protesting and is riling. I'm not saying that you can't have it ever, but definitely not in 2025. Like, maybe in the far future, who the fuck knows? You know, 2500, year of the Lord. Maybe you will. But like right now, the way things are right now, not gonna happen. Benedict XVI got elected, and he was a conservative. We could totally get a conservative pope again. Yeah, I made a video about that on my main channel. It is possible, but unlikely. And the reason it's unlikely is because the people that do the voting now have been blessed by the current pope, right? By Pope Francis, which was a progressive. I think the reason Benedict XVI got elected is because people didn't know the woke ideology yet. Like, it was a subversive ideology, came out from nowhere. People just didn't know just how toxic it is. Now, let's talk a little bit about the woke ideology. First of all, the woke ideology can be compatible with Christianity. Like, you saw the candidates for the popes, right? Like, you can advocate for social justice, environmentalism, and all that bullshit if you frame it in a religious way. So as long as you cloak it with theology, it kind of fits, right? And so if you have, like, people in the church that genuinely believe in the ideology, or they want to promote the ideology because they view it's the future, or they're promoting the ideology because of financial incentives, or they're promoting the ideology because it's a lot easier to work with the institutions, that's why you get a progressive pope. American outlier. I'm not Catholic, but I would prefer Cardinal Demarieu. If these people actually believe in Christianity, we Catholic could actually get Sarah or W. Yeah, but it's not like, again, a lot of people, they look at the church and they think it's just a theological institution, which it is. But it's also a political machine. It's also an economic institution. It's also kind of like a state within a state, if you will. And you need to take into account the most important part, who does the voting, right? Like, who are the people casting their votes and what do they believe in? And the question is, like, do the people that do the votes align with your view, American Outlier? And the answer is flat out no. I don't think they do. And so, the question is, like, why are popes woke, right? Woke ideology is extremely unpopular with the masses, but it's very popular with the top institutions, right? So, like, if you're spinning in the circle of power, where you're spinning with prime ministers, NGOs, the World Economic Forum, the European Union, the bureaucracy, like woke ideology is king. You need to have it to be able to talk with them. And so this is probably one of the reasons why many cardinals that don't believe in woke ideology would support it. Will be like, well, it's better to go with them than against them. What denomination is my church? I'm an atheist, but I grew up as Orthodox. Jesus was pretty much a hippie figure, minus the whole chasing the shekel. I wouldn't call Jesus a hippie figure because for his time, like, what he did was... Like, it's not like everyone was living in an apartment complex and Jesus was the guy running around the streets, Like, he was a preacher, right? So, like, he moved places. It's not... I wouldn't call him a hippie just because, he lived in the sand. It's like, yeah, but everyone lived in the sand back then. Everyone was a hippie by this metric. If anything, you'd compare him like he's no different than a Greek philosopher, really. Right? Like, Greek philosophers would go around and they would preach their philosophies in various places and talk to various people. Like, he's more close to that, if you really want to humanize him in that way. Right, if you really want to think like if Jesus was something, I wouldn't say a hippie. I mean, he wasn't rich. He wasn't like an aristocrat or anything like that, but many Greek philosophers weren't either. He was more like a revolutionary. I wouldn't say he was a real revolutionary either. Like, he wasn't trying to create a movement against the Roman Empire. In fact, like, there are quotes in the Bible where he says, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, right? No, I think he's more like teaching people about how to live a stoic life. Not necessarily like stoic, but like what ideology to have in order to find fulfillment, right? Like a set of morals and codes that if you live life by, you will find happiness and fulfillment. I think it's more like that. If you want, like, someone that's a revolutionary, I would say that's Muhammad. Like, Muhammad is much more of a revolutionary than Jesus. Muhammad is the one that wants to overthrow the system and then pretty much conquer everything. Like, that's a more realistic comparison to what you're looking for. Yeah, Jesus was pretty chill. Exactly. Like, I wouldn't see Lenin, go to the peasants and tell them to pay their taxes. Because that's a revolutionary, right? Like someone that's a revolutionary would not encourage people to keep partaking into the system. Like, they will say, why are you partaking in the system of oppression? You don't think the next pope will be WEF aligned? No, I do think it will be WEF aligned. I'm pretty certain it will. I would be surprised if it's not. We don't know, though. I mean, mysterious things can happen. But I'm pretty sure it will. You don't have to explain this to me, LOL. And yes, the Vatican is its own state within Italy. Look at the Vatican court trials. Yeah, no, I'm not just explaining it to you. I'm explaining it to the chat, right? Because, like, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people, when they think of the church, they think about the modern church, but they don't look at the history of it and what it did and what it didn't do. And the ones that look at the history of it, they look from a pop culture lens where it's either all good or all bad. My problem with the non-denomination is that it lacks tradition, structure, and history. Conservatives should stop running away from the main churches and take them back. Yeah, I do agree. Like, tradition is actually important. But again, I can't change things. I just look at the way the world is and try to explain it from the lens of my understanding. We have to differentiate between the book Jesus and the historical one. Yeah, but like the thing with the historical Jesus, like what can you really know about it? Like, people didn't have smartphones back then. They didn't film Jesus back then. So like what we know is what was written about him, and it's not even that much. And so like the book Jesus versus the historical Jesus, I don't know. I generally don't know. Christianity is a mystic faith. Judaism is conquest. It's a little bit more complex, but I wouldn't say that different. Judaism, I wouldn't say... is it conquest, though? Like, this is the interesting part, right? Like, if you look at the people of the book, as they call them, you have the Jews. The Jewish people. The Jews. Then you have the Christians, and then you have the Muslims. The Jews, they're... Like, everyone has their own particularities, right? So, like, the Jews, they're a close enclave. It's very different. Like, they don't try to convert you. In fact, it's the complete opposite. Right? Like, if you want to join their religion, it's incredibly difficult. You need a patron. They're very resistant. Like, they're actually fighting you against joining them. And I'm talking about, like, historical Jews. Not like, modern ADL shit. But I'm talking, like, throughout history. Right? Like imagine in, I don't know, year 1300 that you go into a place and they have like a Jewish ghetto, and that's where the Jews live. And you go to them and you're like, I want to become a Jew. Now, if you said that, they would probably not be very happy. Like they wouldn't welcome you. You would need a Jewish patron. They would be very suspicious. Like, why do you want to be one? What's in it for it? Like why are you trying to do this? And then it's like a very difficult journey, and you need to also get yourself circumcised, which, again, imagine you're the 40-year-old man, and you have to slice your dick off. Like, no, most people won't do it, right? So it was like, it's a very closed religion towards accepting new converts. Then you have Christians. Depends on the denomination. Most Christians want converts. The Catholic Church is the one that became all imperialism. But like, if you look at Orthodox Christians are kind of like, we're not coming for you. We're just going to do our thing. You're going to see why it's awesome, and you'll want to join. Right? So like, Orthodox Christians are more like, the church, you will find the church won't find you, right? And so this is like the middle of the road, where yes, converts are accepted, you can convert, but we're not going to force you to, right? You're just going to see that our way is pretty fucking cool, and you're going to join willingly. And then you have to be ethnically Jewish. No, like, there were people that weren't ethnically Jewish and joined the Judaic religion, and back then they didn't have DNA tests. Like, in the year 1300, they wouldn't fucking know, right? But anyway, right, so like, Christianity is the middle of the road. And then you have Islam. And Islam is like, every single fucking person on planet Earth is going to have to convert. Every single one, no fucking exception. And once you convert, if you try to renounce your faith, death is the sentence. Right? So like, these are the three things. So like, when you say that they're similar, no, they're not. Right? Like, one is very resistant to new converts. The other one is like, converts are accepted, but we're not going to go out of our way. And the third one is, we need to convert everyone. At all point. That is, you should be an adult before you voluntarily elect to have the procedure done. Can you imagine, like, how many adults would not do it? Like seriously, right? Like, circumcision. Imagine if it was done at the age of 18 and have people willingly... fuck no. Although maybe you would. Who knows? Because, like, at 18 you'd have anesthetic, right? Because that's another thing. Like, babies, they can't get anesthetic because it fucks up their kidneys. And so you just got it. You go in raw, snip, snip, the American way. Hurrah. But like, for an 18-year-old, if they really want to do it, it's like, right, it's just a procedure. Nurse, you go into an operating theater. There's some music there that the surgeon likes to listen to. Maybe he likes to listen to ABBA, or maybe he likes to listen to Spice Girls. Who the fuck knows, right? And he's listening to this chill music, and it's like nurse forceps, and you hear it, and like the clanking of the mental instrument. A little bit of lidocaine, the syringe with lidocaine, and like a small prickle, and then you don't feel anything. Yeah. That's how it would be if you do it to adults. The Jews find the idea of Jesus offensive. Well, of course they do. It's just like the Christians find the idea of Muhammad offensive. Why are you judging, bro? You think the Christians don't find the idea of Muhammad offensive? Of course they do. If you're already circumcised without being a Jew, they will take a drop of blood from that area. See, the more I live, the more trivia I get. I had no idea of that shit. But now I know. There's like a ritual for converting circumcised non-Jewish people to the Jewish circumcision. It's interesting. You feel it after. Well, of course you feel it after. But then you have Nurofen and paracetamol, right? So like you feel it after, but like it's fine. Pfizer provides. Dr. Fauci is going to take care of you. The weird show us the Chad popes. I don't fucking know. Pope Innocent III. That's a fucking Chad pope. Look him up. All right, homework for tomorrow. Pope Innocent III. Let me show you the Pope Innocent III. All right, my favorite pope. Called the crusade. Fucked up with other Christians. Didn't fucking care. Right. Alright. This guy. Right? This guy. Gets in a crusade. And children doesn't fucking matter. Like God will send you to fucking heaven. Just plunder, just take. And they took and they took and they took like real Christian, and then they planted the fucking flag. Cause it belongs to the Catholics now. And they took the fucking Holy Land with blood, guts, and glory. Not in the name of Jesus, but in the name of Innocent the fucking Third! Even to this day, some Muslims complain. But it is what it is. It just happened. No, it's not like he had CCTV footage, right? It's not like he could actually see what's happening to put a stop to it. He just heard about it. It's like, well, my lord, our armies sacked the city. They did what? They sacked the city. Okay, well, it happens. Did they rape and plunder? Of course, it's medieval time. Like, we don't have feminism yet. Like, what do you want to do? You want to cancel them? No, I mean, I gave them absolution. When you think about it, it kind of makes fucking sense, right? You're in a crusade, all your sins are forgiven. Is it sinful to rape and plunder? Yes. But like in the mind of the medieval person, it's like, hold on a little bit, chotomate, right? And his cogs are turning. It's like, okay, I commit sin, but my sins are forgiven. And so, right, like it's logically consistent. It's not like what they were doing wasn't illogical. To easily explain this denomination are branches within the Protestant theocracy. Catholic, Orthodox, and Protestants are sects, pillars of Christianity. Think of the three-legged stool that helps. Yes. I think that it's like this. What exactly is it Christianity? Because you have like things like atheist Christianity, you have like things like the Mormons, and so, like, what is the question? It's like and the progressives would say, well, if you call yourself a Christian, you are. And no, I'm sorry, it's not how it works, because if everything can be Christian, then nothing is. And so you have to have, like, a consistent thing that would say, all right, well, this is Christian, this is not. And consistent is the belief in the Trinity, right? The belief that Jesus is divine, that the Holy Spirit, God, and Jesus are all one and the same. And if you don't believe in that, if you reject that, then you're not a Christian. And that's the difference between a sect and a denomination, right? So, like, for denominations, you have the Protestants, you have the Orthodox, you have the Catholics, the Lutherans, and a couple of others, and everything else is fucking heresy. Which is fine, you know, like, there are certain heresies that still produce stable communities and shit. It's not, like, not the whole heresies are bad. The Mormons, for instance, right? Like, the Mormons are doing very well. They're not creating ritualistic blood sacrifice. Right? They're not like California. It's okay, yeah. But they're not Christian, according to the definition. The Nicene Creed. Okay. Well, it is what it is. I look, just because I don't know to put a name to it doesn't mean that I don't read about it and start noticing patterns and be like, okay, well, this one seems similar to this one, it seems similar to this one, and all the other ones seem to be all over the place. Not all heresies are bad. Well, they aren't. No, I think like there are a couple of philosophies on planet Earth that are good, even though they're exclusives. I think like Christianity is definitely capable of creating stable societies. It's difficult. The thing with Judaism, like the Torahs and stuff, like, yeah, it can create stable communities, but if you're going to be an enclave in other places, like historically speaking, right? You're going to create an enclave in a Christian nation, and your entire ideology makes you think that you're God's chosen and you're better than everyone. Like, it's going to lead to prosecutions. It's just like the way it is. The Muslims, I mean, yes, it creates stable societies, stable communities, but if you think that you need to conquer the world in order to bring peace, and everywhere you go, you need to impose your religion, going to constantly cause conflict and stuff, right? Christianity is good. I think the Orthodox version is the most acceptable to create stable societies with harmony. But outside of Christianity, are there any other religions? Like, some of them yes, some of them no. For instance, what the Aztecs and a lot of the Americans believe, that you need to do human sacrifices to appease the gods. Obviously, that creates conflict and strife. Not very good. You know, anything that has human sacrifices, not very good. Confucianism. Taoism, Buddhism, they're all functioning. They created societies that existed before Rome. Very stable. Harmonious societies. So yeah, like there are other, you know, like pagan ideologies or ways of belief or thinking that can create stable societies and functioning governments. But yeah, Schism, is that a thing? Schism. Peace through war. Yeah, the thing that peace through war doesn't work, I mean, on paper it would, right? Like, if you conquer the entire world, so you have like this massive war, and you conquer everything, and then you have peace, because like there's nothing else to fight, right? But the problem is, like, once you have that, like, people have the war mentality, and now you have schisms. Now you have like even if the entire world would be Islam, you still have the Sunni, you still have the Shia, you still have the Kurds. And you're back to square one. And so this is why I don't like warlike religions or imperialist-like things. Like, I'm not against empires and being imperial. You know, like, you're annexing new land, you're conquering new places. But, like, empire for the empire's sake, like, we need to conquer every single patch of land on planet Earth just because, I think that's retarded. And I also think that doesn't bring any positive outcomes. Confucianism is not a religion, but a philosophy. And probably why I like it. Anyway, right. Gonna leave it here. Yeah, it's a philosophy that can replace religion. Kind of like the woke ideology, right? Like, just because it doesn't have a deity or the supernatural doesn't mean that, it can't replace an idea, it can't replace a religion. So, like, woke ideologues, they don't believe in shit, right? They don't believe in Jesus, they don't believe in divinity, but, like, they have a set of fundamental beliefs, like fascism bad, anti-fascism good. They still have moral standards. Islam must be driven out of the West? Islam was always in the West, not to the level that it is today. I don't know what will happen. Like, here's the problem with modern society and why you can't put the genie back in the bottle. What's happening recently, I agree that it's not normal, and there may be consequences down the line, especially if Muslim populations start forming governments and get elected and try to impose Sharia on the rest of the people. But the reason that I would say it's different now than it used to be is because now you have technology. Like, never before in human history did you have CCTV cameras, online banking, online transfer, multinational corporations, internet, AI. Like, all this stuff makes for rebellion to be impossible, even if it's peaceful, right? Like, you have a couple of truckers protesting, all of a sudden their bank accounts are frozen. Right? Like, no one goes on the street, no one fights them. It's just like their bank accounts are frozen. And so, I don't know what will happen. And also, like, never in human history did you have the opportunity on going on a plane and within a couple of hours you're on another continent. And so we're in uncharted waters. I genuinely don't know what the solution will be, but I guess we'll see. The reality is that things like to stabilize. Like things don't like to remain in conflict. Things don't like to remain in flux. So one thing will give. For example, in the case of the United Kingdom, I think it will become closer to a country like Pakistan. Pakistan is stable. It's not the best place in the world to live in, not the worst either. And I think it's going to become like that. It's also a nuclear power. Right? Will we get that? I don't fucking know. Well, I mean, the idea, right? Like, people are treating Islam as an ethnicity. But, like, what would happen, hypothetically speaking, like, imagine this, in 60 years, a lot of British people, if not most of them, convert to Islam. Does that change their genetical makeup? No. Right? Like, if they do a 23andMe test, it's still the same. But ideologically, now they're Muslims. Will it be like an Islam like Saudi Arabia or an Islam or like Pakistan? Probably not. It would most likely be an Islam like Turkey. Is that for good or bad? No, it's different. That's the thing. How would they treat the new arrivals when everyone is Muslim? I don't fucking know. But, like, what I'm trying to say is that we're in uncharted waters. Like, never before in human history has this happened. To have, like, all of this technology where, you get CCTV footage, AI, people carrying smartphones to the point where the government can know at every point of the day where you're at. Online banking, that whenever you make a transaction, the government knows where you are. And so, like, people will find different methods of resisting. Like, for instance, in Britain, okay, let's say they pass a law, and I think, like, they actually try to do this, that if you're a Muslim, you don't have to listen to LGBT class, right? Well, a lot of people that don't believe in Muhammad are going to convert their kids just so that they can avoid that shit. It is what it is, Does that mean it will stay that way? Probably not. Like, 100 years from now, maybe, like, some British people will say, hey, Christianity is actually pretty fucking dope. And that will make a comeback. The idea of looking at history linear and finality, like this will happen and that's it. No, like, you need to look at, okay, if this happens, what next? Like, what will happen afterwards? Like, okay, for the short time, for the short period, this is what it seems will happen. But what will it be like in 100 years? What will it be like in 200 years? Look at Spain, right? Like, Spain was conquered by the Moors in almost 90% of its capacity. And it wasn't like in Britain. It was like, no, like full Moorish occupation. And despite all that, the Spain still managed to create the Reconquista and drive the Muslims back up. So my point is, don't be black-pilled, right? Like, don't be black-pilled. Don't think like, okay, well, things happen and they stay that way. No. Things are in constant flux. Anyway. Oh, you don't live for 200 years. Well, be glad you live in the time of great peace, right? You're not living in World War I. You're not living in World War II. You're not living in the war of great roses, so on and so forth. So be glad because of that. Anyway, I need to go. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your super chats, and I'll see you guys later.